Hello there, I'm Magna Faye.
I'm Karen Tully,
And this is WarDesk
News. Good morning, this is WarDesk News, and I'm your host, Karen Fitzpatrick, and today we have with us Kimberly Klacik, who is running for Congress in the 7th District. And she made that famous walk down Baltimore, which we've heard about a million times, and I know that it went viral. So I want to talk to you about something different today, Kim.
Okay.
What impassioned you to make that famous walk in Baltimore?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So there's a lot of people in Baltimore City, especially in the West Baltimore area, that have been neglected, and not just for a little bit, but for decades. And so, before that walk, last summer in July 2019, I made some videos that I posted on my social media pages, basically showing the blight and the trash piling up and just everything, the living conditions that they were dealing with in those areas. So when I took that walk in Baltimore City again, it was for my campaign ad, but it was really me reiterating what I've already talked about a year ago. And here we are a year later, and the conditions look just the same.
Well, I was downtown at the Red Shoe event, and I spoke to one of your friends, and she said that one of the things that impressed her about you was that you used to come to her home suited up and ready to clean. And she said she saw that long before you even ran for this office, and she could see your heart, that you were always concerned about the city.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I started a nonprofit 8 years ago called Potential Me, and what we did was workforce development. And we really focused on women having that confidence and that self-esteem that they needed for their job interviews. So employment specialists would call us. We would get them all suited up. We do a home makeover. Some women are coming out of rehabilitation, incarceration, homelessness, and we would get them suited up. We would get their hair done, their makeup done, because unfortunately, when you're coming out of those situations, you don't have anything at some point. So we would get them ready, they would go. We helped over 200 women become gainfully employed. 30% went on to be financially independent.
Why, Kim? I mean, what impassioned you even to start that organization? Something in your background, something that you had seen as a child? Often tragedies are what make us go towards helping others. Was there something that happened with you?
Absolutely. So when I was 15 years old, I actually lost all of my hair to alopecia.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it was traumatic, even though, looking back at it, it's just hair, right? But when you're a teenager and you're already going through that whole teenage phase, to lose my hair for me was awful. And it was hard for me to deal with it. And I didn't want to go to school. I actually went on to Bowie State University. I got teased tremendously.
Aww.
Yeah, it was awful. So I actually dropped out of school. And I think it kind of prohibited me from really proceeding to my potential, which is why I call it Potential Me. And I just know there's a lot of young women dealing with a lot of trauma in their lives, and they have in their childhood. And I thought, you know what, if I can just help anyone that has gone through something traumatic, maybe I could do so. So I wasn't working at the time. My husband said, take your time and go do something for the community if that's what you want to do. So I did.
Wow. Well, I've heard before that women who have breast cancer, that losing their hair is just as traumatic as losing their breast.
Yeah.
So you certainly did go through something, and it obviously motivated you to have a heart.
Yeah.
Now, when you work with these abused people in this organization, Potential One, what do you see in these girls, and what can we do in Baltimore to really help them on a fundamental level?
Yeah, so I think they all shared one single trait was not knowing their self-worth and the lack of confidence, and not knowing just how much they mean to the community and how much they could contribute. When I was dealing with women coming out of incarceration, I would say probably 90% were incarcerated because of something that happened with the guy they were dating, right? So they were in these abusive relationships, and that usually stems from not having the self-esteem or, having your self-worth, and you end up in these situations. And I think that's what it's about. If we can empower one another to live our best lives, I think is what they say now, I think that would help. And, that's when you see the community in this distressed situation with the trash and everything piling up. People in the area, some of them are in this mindset that it's okay. Some people tell me well, it's not as much trash as last year. It's so they've lowered their standards. And it's you know what? You're worth more than this. You deserve the best neighborhood.
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to that potential me, which is a very good name. Now, you're probably familiar with Melania Trump's Be Best program,
Yes.
the 3-tier of self-esteem, the opioid crisis, and also social media, which are things that are very important. In fact, right now, because you are on media so much, you may even be dealing that with your daughter. That she's watching TV, and of course you will see attacks for women that are aspiring to successful positions. Do you have any thoughts on that, of how we could control social media, or what we could do to help our children so they're not exposed to these things?
Yeah, I think it would be great to help with balancing it all. You know, there's always probably going to be someone posting a video of someone fighting or, you know, taking part in something that is socially unacceptable, right? But I think, you know, those videos to me seem to go viral, right? What if we all focused on making sure good videos go viral?
Great idea.
Someone, you know, feeding the homeless, or, you know, and the media plays a large part in this. Because a lot of times, you know, the ratings that they get is based on, you know, seeing a situation where it's like, I mean, we see it all the time now with the whole defund the police and what we're seeing in all these cities across America. Everyone's, you know, lighting things on fire, they're looting stores, and those are the videos we see. But I know that there are people out there that are peacefully protesting. There are people out there that want better for their community, but they don't ever seem to get the light, you know? So I think we should focus on trying to balance it.
Yes, and hopefully they can hear your voice about that. Now, how about the opioid crisis? That is something that would not only affect young girls and boys, but the parents, and it really goes back in generations. And I know that right now we have a severe crisis in the United States regarding drugs, and that President Trump has done some things to help that. And also, our First Lady is working on that, particularly the neonatal, where they're coming into hospitals. Have you heard of any cuddling programs? Do you know where they go into hospitals and they cuddle these children?
Yeah, I have heard of that, yeah. So I think we have a problem in this country with really tackling rehabilitation, and that is with the drug epidemic and then also with the prison system. It's almost as if we, you know, try to put Band-Aids over things and hope that it all works itself out. In West Baltimore, you have so many methadone clinics within blocks of each other. It's crazy. But we have to understand these clinics are operating because these people are always needing that methadone, right? So I'm not sure if it's really getting them off of it or weaning them off of that and tackling the issue. So that's something that I would love to investigate further and figure out how we can actually rehabilitate people and, you know, get them back to work and get them back on track. I believe in second chances, and this is why I have such a problem with the cancel culture. Because I believe second chances. I mean, we are not who we were at 17 as we are 45. You know, we're totally different people. And I think that we should really, you know, help our neighbors out. You know, not just write them off or think, oh, you know, they're addicted, you know, it's sad. No, these are people. You know, that's someone's daughter, it's someone's son. You know, we should be lending a helping hand.
Absolutely. Or going back into their high school yearbook when they're 60 years old. Everyone has something.
Right.
What we need to do is take a look at those things and potentially make someone better with that.
Yeah.
So I think also one of the things I know something about the heroin problem is that actually when someone's in a rehab, there are gangs that wait outside of that rehab. So when the people are released, the gang is right there ready to give them more drugs. And there's a very high incidence of death when someone comes out of a rehab or a job. So I think your idea of cleaning up the streets would be beneficial to that also.
Absolutely, and it's sometimes reciprocated. So you've got people coming out of these clinics, they're dealing with the gangs that are selling it, and then you've got some people coming out of these clinics that are also selling it themselves, right? So you have an abundance of drugs on the streets right now because of this situation. And again, it just, you know, we throw blankets over things sometimes and think, okay, this will help fix the issue. You know, also for crime, I don't know if people know this, but there's a lot of money to be made in crime and for leaving some of this drug situation the way it is. So we have to put people in charge that really want to see it get better.
Do skills such as girl or a guy being an electrician or an esthetician, rather than saying they all need a 4-year college, because I don't think that's the case today. Do you do any work on that, or would you advocate any work on that?
Absolutely. So I myself am a college dropout. You know, I talk about it often. School was just not for me. I had dealt with my, traumatic experience. I just did not want to be there. And I know that that happens to a lot of people. We should be, telling people, look, you can do both. You can go to college or you can go straight to work. And this is what I talk about when I talk about bringing the biotech industry back to the Baltimore City port. We saw during the pandemic, we relied on other countries for PPE. Why not bring that billion-dollar medical equipment industry right back to Baltimore through our ports? It's being underutilized as it is. And those are jobs that we can actually put apprenticeship programs through some of our high schools. Now, across the country, we also have a trucker shortage. I learned that Allstate does a behind-the-wheel certification. They work with Maryland New Directions, another nonprofit that has great numbers. They do a great job. But it's $2,000 per person. It's a 6-week course, and then they get their CDL license. And these truckers go on to make $50,000 to $75,000 a year.
Absolutely, it's a great career.
They're
free to travel. And
exactly.
They like it.
Yep, and I hope they travel and also stay home and bring that money back into the community. It's all about making sure there are career opportunities.
And for people to look at their choices, I think a parent has to describe it. You don't want to come out of college with $150,000 debt and a career that's not marketable. These type of things. Can you see bringing that into some of your programs that you would bring into Baltimore, teaching girls or boys both? Because I think sometimes boys are also put down in our society today. Teaching them the value of different educations.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what we should be focused on. Back in 2014, I was actually a vendor in the Baltimore City Public School system. Dr. Thompson under Dr. Thornton had me go in and actually teach soft skills to young women in the suspension centers. So these are women that were going in and out of juvenile detention. We were trying to get them in a place where, number one, they got focused, but number two, grooming them to go to work right after high school. And I think it was very successful. I'm sad that they didn't continue the program. I would have still been there. But there were a lot of young ladies that said, Miss Kim, I often don't see women in career wear. My mom wears a uniform to work. I don't see women wearing the heels. So just exposing them to other things is really helpful.
Absolutely. And potential me, you'll probably get all kinds of donations if that, they'll be flowing in.
Yeah.
Because it's really insane, the women that have beautiful clothes and beautiful suits sitting in their closet that they don't even wear anymore. And so many young girls. Yep. Would love to have those clothes. It's a wonderful organization, I think, paired with Be Best type of platform with our First Lady. Did you meet the First Lady by any chance?
Not yet.
She'll probably